From the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, this is Tennessee Workforce Weekly. Here now is Chris Cannon.
Hi everyone and welcome to Tennessee Workforce Weekly. Today we are discussing elevators. The department operates the state's elevator unit, which is responsible for inspecting people-moving machines in Tennessee. Let's take a look at the elevator unit by the numbers. Chris Farmer is the supervisor of Tennessee's elevator unit. And Chris, I just mentioned elevators and escalators, but really there's a long list of machinery that the unit investigates.
Yes, we actually inspect the wheelchair lifts, we do dumbwaiters, and we do the aerial tramways, and we also inspect the ski lifts.
And you mentioned the ski lifts, and obviously most of Tennessee doesn't have ski lifts, but when you get over to the Smokies and East Tennessee and the Gatlinburg area, there are quite a few over there that you have to look over.
Yes, and what we normally do is go up right before the ski season just to make sure everything's safe, make sure everything's in good operation before the ski season. And we actually go back after the ski season to see what's been done to it and make sure that we supply them a list of stuff that needs to be done before the next ski season.
And escalators, you do look after those as well. And
yes,
a lot of people don't realize this, but escalators can be very dangerous, especially in airports and places like that.
Yeah, some people, they'll try to take baggage. We've had people that actually put baby carriages on them. We've actually had people try to push wheelchairs on them. It's usually when you have an escalator, you'll have an elevator close that you can find and ride it, and it's much safer. Most of our accidents are escalator accidents, and it's mostly falls and trips. So people need to be really careful.
Especially at the airport, if you have your luggage that you're dragging behind you and you're trying to get that on the escalator and yourself, and it's very easy to lose your balance.
Yes, and usually people are in a hurry and they don't want to wait on the elevator. Well, you need to. It's just safer that way.
Sure. Talk about inspections. They're twice a year. What goes into an inspection?
Well, we try to, it depends on what type of conveyance we're looking at. An elevator, of course, was what we look at mostly. And we're doing the electrical system. Make sure all the stop switches are working. We make sure all the door locks are working. And we also go into the suspension means, which is what you're familiar with is the cables or the belts or the hydraulic system that pushes the elevator up. We make sure that all that's working properly. We make sure on like escalators or even inside the elevators that it has proper lighting. Because that can cause falls if you can't see where you're stepping. So we pretty much do an overall from top to bottom of all the mechanical and the electrical.
Obviously, with any type of mechanical device, there's going to be an accident every once in a while. It doesn't happen all that often here in Tennessee, but if it does happen on an elevator, what should the owner of that elevator do? Yeah,
well, first off, if it's a serious injury, they need to dial 911. Let's just get that done first, and then after that, they need to stop the machinery from running, either turn the elevator off or turn the escalator off. There's stop switches that they can push to stop them immediately, and that's what they need to do. We don't need anybody getting on them or riding them and get hurt again because of something wrong with the machinery. After that, they need to contact the elevator unit. They can go to tn.gov and search for our unit, the elevator unit, and there's phone numbers on there, and they can call us 24/7, and we'll walk them through the guidance of what they need to do, and we'll actually send an inspector out to do an investigation where they'll inspect the elevator or escalator to see what caused the accident. If it's patrient, we just turn it back on. If it's a mechanical issue, we get them to repair it before we let the public back on it.
So when you go out and do an inspection, are you doing it to a standard so everything's uniform across the state?
Yes, every elevator was installed under a standard that it was that year that it was installed. So that's what we normally do. There is existing elevators, for older elevators, they have to bring it up to a certain standard. Okay. It may not be what the standard is today, but it'll bring it up to all elevators up to one standard.
All right, so it's something a lot of people might not know, that the Department of Labor and Workforce Development is responsible for elevators, but you guys are doing 22,000 plus inspections a year.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Chris, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for spending some time with us. We really do appreciate you watching. From everyone here at the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, I'm Chris Cannon. Be sure to look for a brand new Tennessee Workforce Weekly Monday starting at 10 a.m. Central.